Hello and welcome to my gluten-free, egg-free, and dairy-free pancake recipe. This all started as an experiment that turned out so good that I just had to share it with you because it was 2.5 thumbs up. So here it goes. This is how you make them. It all starts with 1 banana, and mind you, this is going to be enough to serve either 2 people or 1 very hungry person. I put everything in a blender because that gives me a nice smooth batter, and as you're going to be able to tell, I don't really believe in doing very exact measurements. I believe in kind of feeling what the dough is like and then, going with that, which is why I think a video is great because you can see the consistency. So I have some really fine ground oatmeal here. If all you can get is rolled oats or steel cut oats, what you can do first is just grind them. You can use a coffee grinder, or if you have a very strong blender that can grind nuts and seeds, then you can use that instead, basically until you get a flour. So I add about 3 really big heaping spoonfuls of this, and I added a tiny bit more just in case. Next up is a gluten-free mix. This is just an all-purpose gluten-free baking mix. You don't have to use this brand. I brought this over from Canada, so I actually don't know for sure if they sell it in the UK, or if you're not from here or from Canada, then you might have your own gluten-free flour mix. This is just an all-purpose baking mix. Then I add a little bit of baking soda, and then some maple syrup. But as I was adding it here, I was thinking, oh no, there's already a very ripe banana in here, so let's not overdo it because these pancakes are going to be very sweet already. So you do this to taste. And then last but certainly not least, almond milk. So this is our dairy substitute, and I just approximated. And here's my tip. If you put in too little, that's best because you can always add a bit more, or you can add a little bit of water. If you put in too much almond milk and your batter gets too liquidy, then you just have to add a little bit more oatmeal or a little bit more flour or both. And last, I add a small pinch of sea salt. And then now it's time for the blender. And off we go to blend all of this together and make sure we get a nice, smooth, consistent batter. So we want the batter to be thick enough that it looks like this, but we don't want it too thick because we still need to be able to spread it around the pan, and we certainly don't want it too thin. I'm baking here with some virgin coconut oil, and as you can see, I'm putting quite a generous helping in. Please don't put in this much. I had to remove a little bit before putting in my first pancake because it was a little too generous. But, it's up to you. If you have a pan that is not as non-stick as mine, maybe you want to add a little bit more just to make sure they don't stick. But with a decent enough non-stick pan, you should be fine. Mine is not particularly fancy or particularly good, and as you can see, it's actually quite used. I do some real cooking, and I use my pan a lot. What can I say? So here I'm testing for the heat. Now this is very experimental. I just basically waved my hand over it and it feels kind of hot but not too hot. Then we know we're ready. So I put the pan on medium heat. I actually first started off on high heat, and then when I put the batter in, I switched to a medium heat. So I do like to get the pan somewhat hot very quickly just so that I can get on with the day and get started. But then you do want to bake these on medium heat. And if the batter doesn't spread out sufficiently, you spread it out, you make it a little bit thinner, or you can make slightly thicker pancakes. But keep in mind, if your pancakes are thicker, they're going to take longer to cook, so you want to turn the heat down so you're not burning the outsides and having the middle to be raw. That would be bad. And that is actually an affliction that happens a lot with gluten-free pancakes, and it can happen sometimes when you don't add eggs. So this is why these pancakes were just amazing, because they turned out absolutely perfect inside and out. You can see the pancakes starting to bubble. We sped up this part of the video a little bit, and now I'm ready to flip it, and it is beautiful on the other side. It did not fall apart. It is absolutely perfect. And you repeat this a few times until you have either finished off all the batter or you have enough pancakes to have a great breakfast. Now you could also either bake all of the pancakes and keep them in the fridge. I did that. I had about half of the batch that I made, and I had half of that batch the next day. Or you can keep the batter in a container. You should be able to keep that in the fridge for up to 2 or 3 days at most. Now the first one's on the plate, the second one's ready to flip, and I just continued making them until I was out of batter, and that's it. Easy as pancakes. Mission complete. I just made these egg-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. Am I missing anything? Because that's already a lot of free. No, that's it. Pancakes, and they are amazing. Topped with some raspberries. Definitely recommend it. Don't mind the mess in the background. This is my kitchen for real on a Thursday morning before I have to go to the office. So it is what it is. This is real life. And here is the best part. I have never made a pancake that is egg-free and doesn't crumble. And look at this. They stick together and they are so delicious. They're absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend this enough. In fact, I think these are possibly some of the best pancakes I've ever eaten. And they're totally allergen-free for me. You should totally try them. It took me 20 minutes to make them from start to finish, including filming everything, which actually adds a bit of time. So there you go, super easy, and I have a stack of pancakes that feeds me for several days. All right, see you next time. Bye, have a great day.